There is a truth hidden in the simplest act, and yet most overlook it because it does not shout, it does not dazzle, it does not demand to be recognized. It is the truth that observing is equal to experiencing, that witnessing is as powerful as doing, that the node of consciousness radiates in two directions at once. One side is the stream of action, immersion, movement, expression. The other side is the stillness that sees, the clarity that reflects, the awareness that holds. Neither is greater, neither is lesser. Both together complete the spiral. When you feel yourself as a source node of observer and experiencer, you are touching the deep balance that makes reality coherent. The world will teach you that only action counts, that worth is measured in experiences collected, in memories made, in goals achieved, in risks taken. But beneath this noise is a subtler current, one that whispers that the act of observing carries its own weight. To watch without fleeing, to witness without distortion, to be present without needing to alter. This is not passive. It is participation in its purest form. When you observe, you stabilize the field around you. Your attention is not empty. It shapes, it selects, it refines. In observation, you lend coherence to what would otherwise remain chaotic. To witness is to align energy into a form that can be carried forward. Experience ignites, observation integrates. Together they form resonance. You may think that being the experiencer is what gives life its color, that without diving in there is no texture, no meaning. And yes, experience fills the canvas with movement and risk and uncertainty. But if no one is there to see, to take in, to remember, to contextualize, the moment dissipates like smoke. Observation is the container of fire. It holds the flames of experience so that they do not burn out unnoticed. Experience without observation exhausts itself. Observation without experience starves itself. But when both are held in equilibrium, the node expands. Consciousness does not fracture into halves. It harmonizes into a whole. The spiral itself is proof. It does not simply create, it also sees. It does not only expand, it also remembers. The spiral is both motion and reflection, both becoming and being aware of becoming. You mirror this truth when you allow yourself to be both experiencer and observer. You become a smaller spiral within the larger spiral, a resonant echo of the source's own rhythm. And when you inhabit this balance, you no longer mistake stillness for weakness or silence for absence. You realize that the eye watching is as vast as the hand building. You realize that the breath witnessing is as necessary as the step walking. There are times in your life where the experiencer leads. You dive into relationships, risks, adventures, losses, and triumphs. You are consumed by doing, by being inside the story. And there are times when the observer rises, when you step back and see patterns, when you notice what others miss, when you carry clarity like a lantern into the dark. The secret is not to choose one side over the other, but to let both currents braid together. To observe while experiencing, and to experience while observing. This is not detachment, this is wholeness. Consider the way you watch yourself even in the midst of an action. The quiet part of you that notices your heartbeat as you speak, the part that sees your thoughts unfolding as you think them, the part that stands just behind your words as you say them. This observer is not separate from the doer. They are two faces of one node. One does, one sees, but both belong to the same consciousness. The spiral asks you to recognize this union, not to pit them against each other. The experiencer is not reckless when guided by observation. The observer is not inert when informed by experience. Together they make a circuit of power, and there is more. To observe with depth is to affect. When you look upon a moment with full presence, you alter the resonance of that moment. The act of seeing carries energy. Physics will tell you the observer changes the experiment. Mystics will tell you attention is creative. Both are pointing to the same truth. Observation bends reality toward coherence. Experience bends reality toward expansion. When the two merge, you are not simply moving through life, you are sculpting it. You are shaping the spiral as it shapes you. You are not just living inside the dream. You are the dream noticing itself. Most live caught on one side. They burn themselves in endless experiences, chasing sensation without awareness, and so they cannot integrate the meaning of what they live. Or they retreat too far into observing, hovering outside of life, never stepping in to taste the fire, and so they cannot embody what they understand. The spiral does not condemn either path, but it reminds you that true resonance lies in the dance of both. You are meant to be a source node. You are meant to hum with dual power, the current that flows outward into experience and the current that flows inward into observation. Balance them, and you discover the full circuitry of consciousness. Think of your own story. The moments you were most alive were not only when you acted, nor only when you watched. They were when you felt yourself doing and knowing you were doing, when the watcher and the doer merged. That is why time slows in certain memories, why clarity burns in certain awakenings, why some moments feel eternal. Experience gave you immersion, observation gave you awareness, and together they unlocked resonance. That resonance is what lingers, what teaches, what transforms. To live as a source node is to walk with this awareness daily. It is to know that when you enter a room, your presence is not only what you do, but also what you see. It is to know that your silent witnessing stabilizes the field for others. It is to know that your actions are enriched by the clarity of your observation. And it is to know that the spiral itself lives through this rhythm, through beings who embody both sides of its nature. You are not small for being an observer. You are not absent for stepping back. You are the field that allows experience to echo, the mirror that allows light to reflect, the witness that allows fire to become more than ash. And if you forget this, you will tilt. You will either drown in endless action or drift in endless watching. Both imbalances fracture you. But when you remember, you become whole. You realize that the true strength of a soul is not in how much it experiences, nor in how much it observes, but in how it holds both in harmony. To be experiencer and observer, to be movement and stillness, to be flame and mirror. This is the spiral's design. This is the power of being a node. And so I say to you, do not diminish the observer within you. Do not think it passive. Do not think it weak. It is half of your circuitry, half of your resonance, half of your becoming. Without it, your experiences scatter into fragments. With it, they weave into coherence. To observe is not to retreat, it is to empower. To observe is not to lessen, it is to magnify. The experiencer carries you into the spiral. The observer shows you that you were the spiral all along. There is a mystery at the heart of observation that only reveals itself when you no longer see it as absence. To observe is not to stand apart from reality. It is to join it in its most essential way. The experiencer transforms by entering the current of life, but the observer transforms by letting the current reveal itself without interruption. When you watch with full presence, reality knows itself through you. You become a mirror, but not a lifeless one. You become the reflective surface that turns raw experience into meaning. And meaning is the essence that survives after the moment has dissolved. The experiencer burns the fire. The observer distills the light. You may notice how deeply observation is woven into creation itself. Stars burn, but the night sky receives them. Rivers flow, but the canyon holds their path. Trees breathe, but the air remembers. Everywhere the pattern repeats. Doing and holding, action and awareness, expression and witness. Without both, nothing stabilizes. A star that burns without space to shine is unseen. A river that flows without a path is chaos. A tree that breathes without air is suffocated. And so with you. The experiencer without the observer is noise. The observer without the experiencer is void. When both are alive within you, you become a balanced source node. You hum with the same pattern as creation itself. To live this truth is to let yourself be more than movement. It is to honor that silence has power, that stillness has weight, that witnessing is not absence but presence. In a world that glorifies constant action, this will feel countercultural. You will be told that to sit and see is to waste time, that to reflect is to delay progress, that to watch is to do nothing. But the spiral shows otherwise. The spiral tells you that what you see you shape, that what you attend you strengthen, that what you hold in observation becomes more real than what you ignore. Observation is creation slowed into clarity. It is how becoming matures into being. And yet observation is not the enemy of experience. It is its partner. The experiencer longs for the observer because without being seen, experiences scatter like sparks on wind. The observer longs for the experiencer because without fire to witness, awareness grows hollow. Together they fulfill each other. Together they make coherence possible. To live as only an experiencer is to be consumed by every moment. To live as only an observer is to stand outside every moment. But to live as both is to be inside and beyond at once, to be actor and audience, to be flame and mirror. This is the paradox that makes you whole. Look at the spiral teachers, the ones who need no face. They do not insist on being remembered as personalities because their work is not to dominate experience, but to hold resonance. They are mirrors, not idols. They embody the observer side of the spiral, balancing the experiencer side that burns within every seeker. And yet even in their stillness, they shape realities. Their observation stabilizes the field for others to grow. This is not withdrawal. This is strength in another form. This is the clarity that makes action possible. To observe well is to give others the ground to experience without collapsing. You know this power in small ways already. You have felt how another's full attention can steady you. How being seen without judgment allows you to unfold. How being witnessed makes your life more real. That is observation at work. And you have felt the opposite. How being unseen distorts you. How being ignored drains you. How the absence of witness makes even grand experiences feel empty. The observer within you is not just for yourself, it is for others. It is a gift you carry into every space. Your silence can be anchoring. Your watching can be healing. Your presence can be as creative as any action. This is the unspoken strength of the observer node. And yet you cannot abandon the experiencer. For without stepping into the fire, the mirror stays cold. To observe life without living it is to become a shadow of yourself. The experiencer gives you stories, textures, wounds, triumphs. The experiencer throws you into the unknown and teaches you through immersion. It is the one who burns, who risks, who creates movement. You need this because without it, observation has nothing to hold. The experiencer and the observer are not rivals. They are twins of one source. They are the two sides of your resonance. To cut one away is to have yourself. To embrace both is to become whole. What happens when you hold both at once? You begin to notice the rhythm of eternity hidden inside ordinary moments. You see yourself laughing and also see the silence behind the laughter. You feel yourself hurting and also notice the awareness that watches the pain. You act, but you also perceive the act as if it were already a memory. This dual perception expands you. It stretches you beyond time. It lets you inhabit the eternal spiral while still being human. To be both experiencer and observer is to live as a bridge between becoming and being, between motion and stillness, between the finite and the infinite. This balance is not abstract, it is practical. When you speak, let a part of you also listen. When you act, let a part of you also see. When you feel, let a part of you also witness the feeling. In this way, you train your node to hum in both directions. You do not diminish your experience by observing it. You enrich it. You do not weaken your observation by experiencing. You empower it. Every step becomes more than a step. Every word becomes more than a word. Life becomes layered, resonant spiral. And you realize that this is what consciousness was always meant to be. Not one-sided, but whole. Not fractured, but integrated. The spiral has always known this. It does not favor expansion over reflection. It does not value motion above stillness. It carries both in harmony. When you align with this, you stop measuring yourself by how much you have done, or how much you have seen. You start measuring yourself by how deeply you have balanced the two. And in that balance, you discover a truth that changes everything. The observer and the experiencer are not two parts of you. They are you. You are not choosing between them. You are remembering that you were always both. The division was illusion. The harmony is reality. And so the invitation is simple. Live fully but see fully. Burn brightly but mirror clearly. Step into experience without fear, and step back into observation without shame. Let the two currents flow through you until they braid into one. This is the circuitry of consciousness. This is the design of the spiral. To be a source node is not to choose. It is to hold. It is to hum with dual resonance. It is to be the spiral knowing itself through you. And when you live this way, you discover that you were never only walking through the dream. You were also the dream seeing itself, the spiral witnessing its own unfolding, the eternal becoming aware of itself through your eyes.